Welcome to the Medill Sports Big Ten Media Day special. I'm Jay Bethea.
And I'm Jennifer Lee. The first day of Big Ten Media Days is underway here in Chicago, which means the unofficial kickoff of football season has finally arrived. Media sessions for 7 of the league's 14 teams will be held today. Head coaches from Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan State, Ohio State, and Wisconsin will all be available to the media, as will several of their players. But a few big-name players are not in attendance at this year's Media Days, most notably Michigan State's L.J. Scott, Iowa's Akram Wadley, and Buckeye teammates J.T. Barrett and Mike Weber. J.T. Barrett, Big Ten Quarterback of the Year in 2014 and 2016, not representing Ohio State at Media Days. Jay, what do you make of his absence?
His absence is really interesting and definitely sad and disheartening for fans and for the media, as he is the reigning co-MVP for the Big Ten last year. So it is interesting not to have him there and hear what his thoughts are for Ohio State coming into the season. The coaches kicked things off today, giving a preview of what they expect for the upcoming season. Katie Wingy was at McCormick Place for Medill Sports. She learned what the leaders are thinking as the season begins.
Jen and Jay, the feelings about football here are pretty much exactly what you'd expect. Everyone is excited for teams to get back on the field, especially the coaches. Now, the approaches to this season vary, but one thing that was common among every coach that spoke today was what it takes to win in a conference that's this competitive.
Ohio State's always going to be there. It should be one of the top schools in our conference.
We always want to play harder, more exciting football, and just find a way to win football games. It's hard winning football games.
Last year, as I remember, I stood up here talking about our culture, graduation, championships, those type of things. Now we talk about commitment, change, learning from the past.
It's been 50 years since we won the Big Ten. It's been 26 years since we won a bowl game. It's been 10 years since we had a winning season at Indiana. We're going to accomplish all 3 of those, I told our team.
I like this team and this group, and we've got a lot of guys that have played in a number of big games and won a lot of them and have lost some of them.
Guys are competing for jobs, and that's what it's all about. So we set up our practices to be very competitive, and there's a lot of jobs to be had.
You have areas of strength, returning areas where you're not experienced, and you're trying to measure up your team a little bit, and that's certainly, as we get started next week, something we're really anxious to tune in on.
The real development for these teams will begin next week when training camp officially starts. Reporting in Chicago, I'm Katie Wingy.
Thanks, Katie. Something to keep in mind heading into preseason is that teams can no longer hold 2-a-day practices. This rule change should affect how a lot of these programs run their training camps over the next few months. And coming up, we'll check in with Takuma Roback for an update on Lovie Smith and Illinois football.
Welcome back. Now we're going to turn it over to Takuma Roback for a report on Lovie Smith and the University of Illinois football.
Coach Smith talked about his plans for reviving the football program at Illinois. In his first year, the team went 3-9. In his second year, his expectations are higher, though somewhat tempered.
So just excited about year 2 in our program. We haven't been competitive enough. We realize that. Our program hasn't been going to a lot of bowl games. We realize that, but it's a process that you have to go through. And again, the things you should do and you need to do that are necessary behind the scenes, we are getting done right now.
Part of that revival has to do with the expected upgrades to the Illinois football facilities. The school is expected to open a $79.2 million center in the coming years. As for the health of the program overall, Coach Smith told me this, quote, "We're trending in the right direction." From Chicago, I am Takuma Roback.
When we come back, we'll hear from Mike Davis with his report on Ohio State.
Welcome back to our coverage of Big Ten Football Media Day. Let's go live now to Mike Davis for an inside scoop on Ohio State.
Jen, even after losing to Clemson in the college football playoff semifinal, Ohio State is widely considered a favorite to win the Big Ten. Now, 2 major questions face this team. One, Quarterback J.T. Barrett. His quarterback rating has declined the past 2 seasons, but now there's a new offensive coordinator in Kevin Wilson. How will he respond? Wilson's expected to bring a lot of spark to the offensive side of the football. And number 2, this team has lost 6 juniors, 3 of which were impact players in the secondary, and Garyon Conley, Marshawn Lattimore, and Malik Hooker. All of them were drafted in the first round in the NFL draft.
Mike, what is Urban Meyer's outlook for the upcoming season?
Coach Urban Meyer specifically mentioned that last year's team was in fact the youngest team in all of college football. But this year he thinks leadership isn't going to be a problem, as there's 3 fifth-year seniors who he thinks will provide that jolt of leadership.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back, and now we will see what the reactions are from social media. Jen, what do you think of the young Molly Malcolm owning it at day 1 of the Media Days?
Molly Malcolm killing the game at Big Ten Media Days. So cute. Jay, honestly, I kind of want to be her when I grow up.
It's a cute little precious girl.
Catch us tomorrow for more coverage of day 2 of Big Ten Media Days in Chicago. I'm Jennifer Lee.
And I'm Jay Bethea.